Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 29th episode. Sorry, friends, it was a bit like 2 weeks ago till the last since the last episode. I was distracted a bit with real life. I am married last weekend, so I think you will forgive me that I didn't have that much time. And I need to prepare for that. Needed to prepare for that, and I had a great time, and my marriage was just beautiful, and I'm very happy. Um, but that leads to me to I didn't care about Lorcana that much, to be honest. I think it was since the release of the game, the 2 weeks where I did think the least amount of time on Lorcana was a bit of refreshing, to be honest. Um, but we will come to that later. Still, I did catch up a bit, and today and yesterday I made my thoughts on all the new cards and stuff and new decks and what could be built. And so I think I have still some things to say about the game. But first of all, to you, Eddie, how was your week? Did you play the set champ? I think you said.
Yeah,
Um, yep.
since we last spoke, I played two set championships. I did one with my well, I call it a halfen list because it was just the bare minimum. It wasn't. I felt a bit bad about it. It wasn't really in like the true spirit of the event. I did, the minimum 25 unique cards, and I lost in a final, which was yeah, I had a lot of fun, but ultimately didn't get there. And then the week after, I played a different set champs, and I played a version of Green Purple Discard, and I did win that one. It was a pretty hard fought day, but yeah, had a really good run with it, and yeah, just had a really good time. Like because we obviously had been on a short break from the podcast, it was like a nice little refresh. I wasn't spending so much time reading everything online and constantly checking discords every day. I just kind of just let it breathe for a bit and feel really good. Like I think it's a great idea just to take a, a bit of a short break like that every once in a while and just have a recharge because I definitely like it sounds really silly. Like if we're in the business of talking about Lorcana news and content, well, spoiler season is like when the biggest peak in
Mm-hmm.
when there's interesting things to talk about. So to take a break like we've just done in at the time when kind of the spoilers are finalized and people are forming their first thoughts on cards, it sounds like it's like the worst possible time to do it. But I actually think it's been really good, at least for me personally, and probably for listeners as well. There's always a couple of weeks where things are really unsure and people are forming some ideas. Everything is kind of your initial reaction to cards. You overreact to some you underreact to. And I really think like it's nice to have been able to just sit with these cards for a while,
Mm-hmm.
think about them just on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, get to a point where like the things that we say today, I actually have like some degree of confidence in. It's not like I saw these 2 seconds ago and now I have to say, I think this is busted, it's gonna ruin the game or something. It's yeah, it's nice to take it at a better pace. So yeah, I've had a good time, but it been very happy for the break as well. And glad to hear that you had a wonderful wedding. I'm not surprised that you didn't think about Lorcana, given that I'm in the middle of wedding planning at the moment for later in the year, and I'm kind of already getting lost in it. So yeah, I'm a bit scared for what that's going to be like in the run up to that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, I think you don't have to be afraid. I think it is. It's more. It's you're more nervous. At least for me, I was more nervous than I should have been. But I think that's normal of it. Like you want to
Yeah,
have it all clear, but then we had a lot of support and stuff, gladly, and I think and also it must not doesn't need to be all perfect to be a great day and stuff,
yeah,
and there can be some mistakes happening. Our wedding cake nearly fell apart and stuff, and
okay.
but and was too much. I drank a bit too much, but I think that's also kind of normal. Um, yeah. So what we're
We'll
going
move on from that quite
We
quickly. No
moved
need to
over,
dive
yeah,
into.
yeah, yeah. So we
No
cut
need
that
to dive
out.
into that anymore.
We cut
Yep.
that out, and I drank too much orange juice.
Yep.
And yes. Coming back to Lorcana, I think we will talk about some new cards. I have to
Yep.
say, I was in my honeymoon the last 4 days, but one day of this 4 days, a bird came onto our room and knocked at the window, and I opened the window, and the bird told me he comes from the Lorcana community, and he told me the format is already cooked.
Yeah.
It's all going down. Please, Artabax, don't come back. The game is ruined. The new combo is there, and it's all ruined. And that
I've heard
scares
similar.
me a bit.
I've heard similar.
That scares me a bit. Just a short story, but we'll come to that later. I think we will start with our top lists for cards of the new set. We both made a new top list for the new set, and I don't know. This time I want you to start. Which is your top?
Yeah, okay.
The fifth place top card of the set.
Yes. So we'll both do a top 5, and I think let's just jump right in. There's no point in wasting time. Number 5 for me is Wrong Lever. The green 3-cost. It's a bounce action that when you have a pull the lever in your discard, it basically becomes the most efficient removal card in the game, as far as I can tell. On the condition that like this particular, you have a copy of this in your discard ready to go, then starts looking like the best removal card in the game, which is it's sort of mixed in power levels. Sometimes it's going to feel like a lower power, but inkable Mother Knows Best. Sometimes it's going to feel really, really good. I can see myself discarding a Pull the Lever to shift a Diablo, and then my first Wrong Lever of the game is super efficient, really, really good. Additional Shark answer, additional anything answer. I think it's very flexible. You know, we both for a long time kind of asked for us a inkable Mother Knows Best. Obviously, it's not a song, can't sing it, so it's a little worse.
Very close.
But it's pretty close. It's close enough to be high on my list. I think from the perspective of someone that's played a bunch of green tempo, I like the look of this, and I think it's got a role to play in the green purple decks moving forward. Specifically, the Diablo / discard versions, because they want actions and are really good at putting the pull the levers in the discard.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I have this card actually higher than you.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I think it deserves its spot on this list. But I have to short spoiler. I ranked this 2 cards together. Like I made it on the same. Because I think Pull the Lever is also a really, really good card.
Yeah, I've done the same. I consider them sort of. You have to evaluate them together because, like,
but
I mean, you can.
Sorry.
I was going to say you can play Pull the Lever without Wrong Lever. You don't need the Wrong Lever there, but you're probably not playing them separately. They kind of one is a payoff for playing the other one, and the other one is just like pretty much medium a lot of the time.
But I just want to point out for Pull the Lever, I'm really high on this card, and I know I'm not necessarily for just Wrong Lever, because I had a conversation like Pull the Lever was a very early revealed, I think, and they say Hypnotize is better, but the problem is I really like I don't know if you remember, like in the SCC I played a list with normal green purple, but with just some sudden chills to threaten the discard. And if you have Pull the Lever in your deck, you actually force your opponent, even if it's not a discard deck in general, you force your opponent to never end a turn with only 1 card in their hand left, because it's threatens to be gone now from that. So like I think it's a very good card, and you most of the time use it as a draw two, but it just limits your opponent a bit from what how he can end turns, and even if he needs sometimes to just keep something in his hand to discard and stuff, even if it's not a complete discard deck. And I think it shines in a tempo oriented green purple also very much. So I'm very interested in this and trying that out. And it's inkable. It's not a big deal. I can also see like green purple tempo decks like not needing anymore like any uninkable draw engines, like just play 4 friends and 4 pull the lever, and then you have a lot of cards still already in your deck with not needing like some clunky rabbit stuff or something like that. So I think it will be we'll need a bit of a time to figure out what the good amount of card draw is then from that. But at least you have another card that is an inkable option.
Yep.
Of card draw just with no cost nearly against some aggressive matchups or against some other discard decks or something. You can just ink it and dump your hand and stuff. And against some decks where you need to grind more, you can use it as a draw tool. And I think in the past we often like used Friends Hardcast in green purple tempo. Especially in the end game is a good top deck, and I like the card. I'm excited to play with that, and we will see how it turns out.
Yeah, totally agree. Nice.
My fifth spot is Into the Unknown. The blue purple new Let It Go style card. I think it's a very meta dependent card, I think. But I think it has absurd tempo potential, and I think I wouldn't compare too much to Let It Go. Of course, it's very comparable to Let It Go, but Let It Go is rarely a tempo tool. It's sometimes with Elsa on the board you can sing it, but this card you can sing it with a fox, with a crab, with a bell, with anything, just randomly. Besides doing another stuff like playing a genie and randomly remove their stuff with your fox and sing that card, it's amazing tempo. I think in purple mirrors it will lead your opponent often to not exert their stuff because they are afraid of that card, and it's so cheap. And in tempo oriented matchups where all about is like good trading and not leaving anything for good trades for your opponent and stuff. And I think this card really shines. And Let It Go would do nothing in that matchups because it's just but if your opponent quests with their genie and you have a crab on board, it's so stupidly good, I think, to gain so much tempo out of that. When Let It Go would do nothing. I would just that's just with the comparison of Let It Go. But Let It Go has other benefits, of course. But I think it's a playable card, and in the right metas, I have to be honest, in the right metas, of course, it really shines, but not in every meta, of course. But I can see stupid powerful things with this card.
Yeah,
I know you were not very high on the card initially, right?
Yeah. Initially, I was pretty low. I mean, you make a very, very good case for it there. I do see your points, totally. Obviously, this is something that, like, if you Popsicle Bell on turn 1, you're not looking to sing this on turn 2 on your opponent's Chernobog's followers.
No.
It's not so good. But I think I really to me. My thinking has moved on a little bit since this, but what put me off initially was thinking that obviously the cheaper this effect becomes, let's call it a Let It Go effect, the cheaper it becomes, what you're opening up there is basically the ability to play it earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really want to play that effect earlier in the
Mm-hmm.
game because
Mm-hmm.
the downside of ramping is so much more significant
Mm-hmm.
when the ink that you're adding to your opponent's inkwell represents a greater percentage of their inkwell, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You would like it to be like negligible. They have 1 or 2 cards left in hand max, and they're already kind of maxed out on ink. That's when it's sort of at its best. But obviously, like it's a super flexible removal card that gets you out of sticky situations. Yeah, I guess what I hadn't thought about so much is the point you make about tempo, which is that it's not the important part about the lower cost isn't that you can just play it really early. It's that you open up a ton more singing options
Mm-hmm.
in the mid game that don't like you don't have to have already stuck an Elsa and have it live for a turn just to find a window to sing it and have a high tempo swing turn. It becomes a lot easier to weave into your play patterns and yeah, just have a massive sort of swing where like you're still questing out, like maybe you still play your Elsa on turn 5 and take out something of theirs with the Elsa, and you're singing with a crab this
Mm-hmm.
on their like biggest exerted threat, and yeah, it's just I can see it creating big tempo swings in games. So I am higher on it than I initially was, but I think there's only so cheap an effect like this can. My concern would be that there's a fair bit of practice to be had with this card before
Yeah.
people stop making giant mistakes with it
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
and creating yeah, certainly some people will pick this up if you were to like just net deck a blurple list with this in it and you sit there on turn 3 and think, whoa, look, it's a shifted Diablo.
Yeah.
You might not want to add like 2 ink to their. You might not want to ramp them from 3 to 5 or something as your Diablo ants. Sometimes that might be
Yeah.
necessary. Like
Sometimes.
you
Yeah.
might need to do it. It might look like a good
Yeah.
proposition sometimes. Sometimes it might be bad, and understanding the difference between those situations will take a bit of practice, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good card that I think is yeah maybe it's better than I thought. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's yeah, there's a lot more to it than
It's at
just
least a playable card, I think.
yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. People will play that card and it will do good things for them.
Yes. So your fourth place.
Yeah, my 4th place is a card that I am really excited about this, and I can't tell if I've just like not been participating in conversations enough over the last couple of weeks, or if people just really aren't. People don't care about this card and think I'm crazy for liking it. But it's the legendary Lilo, the
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Lilo, causing an uproar. Um, I love this card. Like, I so can't tell if it's I can't tell if it's busted or unplayable, but it's like anything that has the word free on it, it needs to be seriously looked at.
Mm-hmm.
If you can play a card for free, it needs serious conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like this card. I like the idea of certain decks that you basically gain access to really powerful turns where you can commit all of your ink to impactful actions and do a bit of singing and then still play a really relevant body on board.
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw this, like because you've got that has the same enters play effect as the 2-cost LeFou, which is
Mm-hmm.
already a card I loved. So the first thing I imagine doing with it is like if you play a Robin Hood sharpshooter, quest with it, get your free action, and then you play your extract. Maybe you sing something else with something else you have in play, and then play a bigger, more relevant action like a Dragonfire or something with your ink for the turn. Then you stick your Lilo for free, ready your Robin so that it's protected again, and it's hung
Mm-hmm.
around to go again next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think lots of decks are kind of increasingly capable of these big mid game, like turn 4, 5, 6. Getting off this amount of actions is not as difficult as it might appear. It becomes a lot easier with tools like Robin Hood, with tools like Ursula, Deceiver of All. It's very doable, and when you play something big and relevant for free, feels pretty good to me.
Yeah.
You know, often when you play it for 5, sometimes like there'll be you'll play this in the same deck as Shark, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be turns when you just challenge with your shark, and you're happy to pay 5 for an effect that readies your shark to go again, buys back another action, and leaves you with another 4/4 quester in play. Very reasonable.
I also
Yeah,
thought
I'm
like
just pretty high. I'm pretty high on the card.
yeah, I mean it's like you said, it's like basically it's like the LeFou with better stats, and it's
Yep.
just I thought about like with the queen, I thought could be cool, like the purple queen, like it's a natural good curve, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Queen, you get 6 lore then, or 8 sometimes if you like turn 4 queen, turn 5
Yep.
effect of the queen, ready it effect again if you want. So like could be a really really swingy turn.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think like I always like cards like that have like high roll potential but are not bad in their base form, and that's basically
Exactly.
like what this card is doing. And I think I would agree that it's not, that's too less talked about, but maybe it still struggles to find a home. That could still
Yeah.
be, but it's hard to say.
I've certainly felt this way about cards in the past, where I can really clearly see like lines, and it looks like they sort of fit into semi-existing decks. They're not. You'd have to build a whole new deck around them, and it feels like, oh well, this looks powerful, and then it plays out where it's like, it is good. It does exactly what you think it would do, but in the context of the metagame and the format, that's not really good enough, or not fast enough, or like particularly susceptible to something else another deck's doing. Which is why I like don't have full confidence in being like, oh, just go buy as many of these as you can. I don't see it being like this out and out busted thing. It's we have to see if it comes together, but like it's the text on the card is like, exciting enough that I think it has real potential, and it's something that people need to keep their eye on. Yeah, if the pieces come together, it's great. And I mean, we're going to look at some decks later. One of my decks was kind of just built around this, so it was the idea of it is rooted in like what's the most realistic deck I can put together for making this as good as it can be. And yeah, we'll take a look at that in a while. But yeah, really excited about this one, and certainly excited to test with it more and see if it is as good as I think. Happily be proven wrong, but yeah, I'm hopeful. It looks better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, that's something I just I forgot to say about. I wanted to say before the top 5 list. I really lost my confidence. Like you said, like one or two sets ago, I lost my confidence completely about evaluating new cards because I was so wrong about so many cards. So we could still totally be wrong with everything we say here, but I think with some cards I'm let's come to that later. But yeah, I can still be wrong. I think coming to my 4th place, that's a card I can totally be wrong. And because there are so many good players that I think I have a really high opinion on, and they say this card is shit, and I said it's not, and I'm probably wrong. But I want to mention it. It's Monstro, like the big whale. When I initially saw the card, I was blown away, and it was I'm lower on it than my initial reaction, but I'm still very high on it. Like when I first saw the card, I thought this is really really busted, and I think it is. I thought it is the best reveal so far in the set for me for reasons I mentioned now. First of all, we never had an inkable board wipe in the game till date. Like in always were like Be Prepared, Big Sisu, Scar. It was always uninkable, and I think the uninkability has good reasons for that cards. Like they would be too good if they are inkable. Like Be Prepared or something. I think it would be. I mean, red decks are most likely playing Be Prepared, but I think it would auto 4 include in every red deck. I think I don't know why you shouldn't play that card then. But being an uninkable makes it a lot more fair.
Yeah.
And Monstro comes very close to a board wipe for me with being inkable, and that's why I thought, why should you not play this card in any not super aggressive purple deck? it's a lot more fair than other bot wipes, of course. But especially I thought like decks like Blurple or something should this card could give amazing comeback potential against Steel Song.
Yep.
And I maybe underestimate the discard effect, that it's much more hurting than I think it is. I thought this card would be so good with cards like Finders Keepers or something together. Like you can take that turn off to play Finders Keepers, with then catching back on board with Monstro so much. And even I thought like people are misleaded by the effect a bit. It's still a 2-quester 8/6/8 rush character.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I thought, I don't know. Like red purple, for example, against red blue, they play 2 manas. You just slam all the manas down with it. And then still it survives a shark attack. Then it's I thought it's absurd against red blue. And it is maybe for purple deck absurdly good card against red blue, because you can just clear any location forever. And you most of the time did play the Finders Keepers earlier in this matchup, so you just play this card and catch up on tempo so much. Yeah, it's all also, yeah, it only shines in a like slower meta, I think. And I thought initially it could open up slower strategies for a lot more purple combinations other than red purple, like even green purple, or like the ember purple stuff. All decks that have no board wipes and want to play a bit more grindy game plan. And yeah, that's why I thought I was very high. Many people are telling me this card is not good, and I respect their opinion, so I'm reconfiguring and rethinking my opinion on this card. But we will see it when the card comes out, and I can try it if this card is good. I'm very excited about your opinion on this.
My opinion on it has changed a bit, and I will say that at the start of the episode, when I said it was quite nice to have a break and not get too involved in those early conversations about what cards are good, Monstro is one of the culprits, where I saw you talking about it and putting it in a deck list in Discord. And my honest thought was like, I'm just going on mental vacation until we're done talking about Monstro. I'm not about to get into a Monstro debate right now. I don't have the brain cells to
Yeah, that's
spare
good.
to wade into the Monstro debate. I've changed since then. I'm meeting you in the middle. I underrated it as a like an 8 strength rush 2-quester that is like very playable in decks like Blurple. I think that you will be hard pushed to do. You just mentioned a scenario where red blue slams 2 manas. If you want to clean that up, you have to discard 3 cards.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah, I mean that's kind of fine because then you don't lose the game to the manas. But like it's a tall order to have Monstro plus 3 cards in your hand.
Yeah, maybe I'm underestimating it. Yeah, that
I
can be.
think that I have underestimated just the regular text on the card. Like sometimes this is just a big, like a massive Maui that has upside and can very easily take out 2 things when you need it to. Maybe you've underestimated the like how prohibitive the discard cost will be. But it's probably somewhere in between what the two of us think about it. Like I think it's a very reasonable card for just as it presents itself, right? Without before you discard anything, it is effective and gives you that. You make a good point about the inkability. It's like because it just has this upside of like sometimes when the pieces come together, it will give you access to a really good board sweep, and you will just clean up the game from there because you're so far ahead on ink typically with these like Blurple decks. And yeah, you can just ink it when you're not there. You don't have to like make your whole game plan around monstroing someone. I think it's probably all right. It's it's a good tool.
Yeah.
At first, yeah, like I said, I completely wrote it off, but I can see it being very good for the kind of decks that would want it.
That's why I said like I'm not very confident about my card evaluating skills anymore. So I'm happy to be wrong, or I see me more likely to be wrong than to be right. So about some other cards like pull the lever that I'm really sure
Yep.
this card is good. Monstro, I can be teach the lesson. Yeah, your third place.
Yeah, my third pick is Ludwig von Drake, the Amber Sapphire 2-drop.
Yeah.
I kind of had to put this in the list because remember last set when we first got dual colored cards, I kind of said that this was like my dream for the design space of dual ink cards is that there are the restriction of being in like a quote unquote bad color pair like Amber Sapphire, something that has like not really put up any results of any kind since set 1, enables you to make cards really, really good. And this is really, really good. It's all about how like this is better than Ursula Deceiver. This is the best disruptive effect we've had so far. It's the most flexible, gives you access to the most things. Being uninkable is obviously a drawback, but the main drawback we need to concern ourselves with is the color pair. Can a good Amber Sapphire deck come together? I think it probably can. It maybe needs like a little more, but this card in a vacuum is so good. It's you've got this. You're playing it for the powerful disruptive effect. Then you also have this. Like if you ever played back in the day when people were back when the card pool was so small, people played the 2-drop Grammatala, and you kind of just quest away with it, and no one wants to really trade it because you just ramp, and that is exactly what you want to do. You have that effect, so it's like this sort of pseudo evasive quester, which they can trade into it, but then you ramp and you get even more upside off your card. Super good, I think. All depends on whether Amber Sapphire comes together. I've seen some concepts that make it look like it could do. I'm not really. It's hard for anything to shine in the shadow of like what appear to be the most powerful things happening in the next format. But if it comes together, this card is so powerful. So yeah, really, really happy to see them pushing this design space. Even if this one doesn't wind up seeing play, I just love it conceptually. Give the unplayable pairs like such good cards that you make them playable. Great, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum you're completely right. I only didn't put it on the list because I still see it very unlikely that it will see play, but maybe I'm wrong. There are too many things that I think Amber Sapphire is missing. But maybe that can change so fast, like one good combo or something, and a deck can be viable. So yeah, I don't see it right now, but then that doesn't mean anything. A card in a vacuum, you have to even put it on first place because it's like it's like the best card in the set lot, but for
it is.
Yeah, it is, but it is not. It's weird to say.
And that's great, right? Like that is a nice thing to happen. That it is the best, and it's not. And so, like, what do we do with that as people trying to build decks? Where do we take that?
It is absolutely impossible to do not card advantage with this card. It's absolutely and it's a 2-cost card, so it's really powerful. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's like it in the early game it always does card advantage, and yeah, it's great. It's such a good effect. The first effect, it's like Bare Necessity, is such a great effect.
Yeah.
And of course. Yes.
Yeah, like on the play with this card, you can take your opponent off their sail. You can take their sail if they're just holding a sail for turn 2. That you can. It's just like some people will remember when, like, before Tipo and Sale existed, people used to play one jump ahead,
Yeah,
and then there was this time when Ursula
yeah, yeah.
Deceiver existed with one jump
Golden
ahead,
times,
and
golden times.
you had this window on the play to take them off turn 2 ramp. Mwah! It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
It was
brilliant.
brutal. It
Yeah,
was
it
really,
was brutal,
yeah, it
and it
was.
really, really disrupted them. You could do that again here. Obviously, what will actually happen is you look at their hand and then they just have a T-bow and you think, bah. But you know,
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's super
yeah,
flexible, disruptive card.
yeah.
It's really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah. My third place was pull the lever and wrong lever, so I
Yep.
jumped
Nice.
right further. I tell
Yep.
my second place, and that's
Yep.
down in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a card like for you, the Ludwig van Drake. I don't
Yep.
know if it actually, but this card, the effect is so busted that I think at least at some point there must be something going on with this card. Mm, it's. I saw this card and I thought like, oh, there must be some. There just must be something with this card. It's so easy to high roll with it, and
Mm.
I still think people will figure out things with this card. Yeah, song is absolutely crazy good. I
Mm-hmm.
think every time we sing with this, it's absolutely great. Even if you hardcast it for 6 cost, then it's often fine. It's not great, but it's often fine. But singing this is just great. And I already saw some lists like, I think the Kandio posted a list with like Amber Sapphire, we talked
Mm-hmm.
about, with Prince Naveen and this card, like Prince Naveen, this. So you play Prince Naveen, play this, get a stupid 6 cost character on board like a store or something. And then next turn, Prince Naveen could sing that again, and then you should be able to snowball that game from that. So and you can even ramp on turn 2, turn 3 Naveen, play this
Mm.
like you have turn 3 Naveen and a 6 cost in best case on the board. I mean that's pretty high rolly, and I think it's not too unlikely. I mean you need to have down New Orleans and Naveen, and that's it basically.
Mm.
So it's not like the craziest high roll of all time. It's yeah, and maybe even some other color combinations. I could also see this in like, yeah, I already thought like initially thought like about like shark decks or something. Like shark singing this is just great. You get the lore, you can maybe get another shark, you maybe get just a mana for free, or I don't know. There must be something with this card, I think so. Maybe I put it too high, but I think the potential makes hopefully up for it. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it.
I got a hot take on this card.
You got
Hot
it's
off the
garbage.
presses. I think this card might be. I think it might be. What do you call it? A false cure. This is like it looks like it's gonna. You when you look at this, you can see all those things. You can see sing it off Naveen. Well, then I play Gaston. I just think it falls apart so quickly. I am nowhere near as high on this as loads of other people seem to be. I don't think it looks at enough cards to find something to put into play. I think that like it's only good when you sing it. It really is only good when you sing it, and that's not good for a song that costs this much and isn't inkable, right?
I wouldn't say that, but yeah. No, I don't think it's all. If you compare for, yeah, I mean like dig a little deeper was not a very much played card, but um I think it's okay if you're not seeing it. Like if you play this and you get a shark out of it, then it's like you had to play the shark. So I don't
Mm,
see it that of
yeah,
a
but like what density of 6 drops are you playing in your deck to reliably hit
20,
hit
20. Like
26 drops.
yeah, or like 5 drops is also fine. This is for free that they get for free on board. It's not like you have to play it then. Like you play your normal turn and sing this. But I'm glad to be wrong again.
No,
You don't have to
I
insult me already.
I'm not. I'm not. No, but this isn't me talking to. This isn't me talking to you right now. This is me. Like everyone seems so much higher on this card. This is sort of me defending myself, really, and trying to justify why I feel the way I do. It's hard to articulate. I'm sure I could break it down
No,
in a ton of detail,
no,
but
no, no,
like
no, 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 no. I think yeah.
I really don't think this is as good as people think it is. I really don't see it coming together. I think
And
that
to be fair,
yeah,
I think the chances that you are right is more likely than I am right.
yeah. It is easy to say that a card's bad though, because like at this point, such a small percentage of cards from any set will end up being competitively playable. So it's easy to take the position of like, oh, this won't be good, because if you just say everything's
Yeah,
bad, you're generally right. It's much harder to take a bold position and say, I think this card's really good. There are some lines that make this look great. There are
yeah.
many more that make it look
I
poor.
think. My hot take is that you underestimate how good it is to just get a mana out
Okay.
of it.
Yeah, fine.
Or a red blue is such a tempo deck. Like every other searcher card, like how far ago or the visions or something, they just search cards. But this plays something for free. That's very rare. It's like if you ever played a song, no song yet printed like play something for free. It's but maybe even if I get a Tala for free out of it, I don't know. It's so great,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah.
I mean, the reason that I say it's only good when you're singing it is like what you've said there. It's the point you've just made is it's so good to have a song that plays something for free. The new thing that you can do with this that you haven't been able to do before is convert the power, the strength, sorry, the ink cost of your characters in play, convert that into more permanence in play,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've only ever
Mm-hmm.
you songs have had like board altering effects, like some of them blow something, some of them are
Yeah, yeah.
removal, some of them might draw you cards, that sort of thing. But we've never seen something that for zero cost
Present
basically
something like yeah.
presents
Yeah.
extra threats on board.
You explained it so much better than me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the essence of what's new. It's that exchange. And the other thing is that like the other exchange that can now happen is that because this is an action, sharks can rebuy actions from your discard. This is an action, but it's an action that puts more things in play. Shark has not really been able to it do you see what I'm trying to get at? It's like an
There
extra.
was no proactive action. That's what you meant.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't do anything you couldn't like when you have like an advantageous board with red blue shark, you could basically your choice was either buy back things that clear some of their stuff, buy back Pirate's Life, which is the closest to a sort
Mm-hmm.
of proactive game
Mm-hmm.
state changing thing you could do, or buy back things that generate card advantage. So just buy back like a whatever the thing is that looks at five cards and puts one into your hand.
Visions.
Yeah, a visions, anything like that. So for the first time, you have this thing that can proactively put stuff in play. In that scenario, in red blue, I think just the fact that you can do those things for the first time, that's very interesting. I don't think it's playable outside of red blue. I don't see any deck that isn't red blue. Like
That's
this
of course.
Naveen
Yeah,
thing.
that of course. I
This
think
Naveen stuff is too much of a gimmick, too many
yeah.
failure modes.
I
In
completely
red blue,
agree.
okay. Yeah.
I completely
Yeah.
agree. But I always think about it in red blue. I mean, it's like if this Naveen stuff the deck can't fall apart if you don't hit it. So like
Yeah, sure.
it's probably unplayable. But I think Red Blue is the DKP vision is already a very, very strong deck, and I think like
Yeah.
I think it like in that way, like if you sing this with a shark, you are so much ahead. And singing with a shark is not like the craziest thing of the world.
No, it's not hard to imagine.
Yeah, it's okay. Uninkable though hurts it a bit. I have to agree. And yeah, but let's see how it turns out. But I also see it like if you hard mulligan for the shark, so you even if you have no shark, then you hard cast this on turn when you're on 6 ink. So you didn't see any shark yet, so the chance that you hit a shark with it goes higher and higher. And if you don't hit a shark with it, then you even get closer to the shark. So it's like a very good filtering card too. And if you hit no shark with it, then I think you hit a Tala or something. I mean, how often do they play just a Tala on that 5-6 ink turn? And then it's also okay. It's not the greatest thing. I mean, they would love to play a shark on that turn, but it's not that they lost so much tempo that they lose the game from that spot on.
Yeah, there's a nice, totally agree. And I think, as we talk about it, I'm coming around to it more. I got a bit caught up in like the gimmicky nature of the Naveen stuff, which I think is probably really bad. But there's a nice bit of like built-in, I think redundancy is the wrong word, but it plays really nicely with shark in both directions, in the sense that this is at its best when it's being sung by a shark or when it's being brought back to your hand by a shark, which means it's in the same deck as shark, obviously. And when you don't have a shark, it's also a good tool for putting sharks into play sometimes. So that's cool. It's not like it doesn't require a specific sequence of things. Sometimes it's going to help you find a shark and get a shark into play on your shark turn when you've otherwise not found it. That's really cool. And that's kind of what you're looking for in like a dream scenario, is that a card doesn't just like enable a single line, but it has other roles within the same cards interact in different ways in different orders. So like your rabbits are like your best bounce target and your card advantage engine, but then also when you don't have bouncers, they dig you towards your bouncers. They bring themselves online, and depending on the order you play stuff, it kind of plays out a little differently. Maybe not the best example, but you're looking for things that they fulfill different roles at different times, and something like this that does exactly one thing looks quite inflexible, but actually maybe a little better than it looks on the surface. Like you can use it on that turn, on your 6 ink turn. I keep calling it turn 6. It's not turn 6. It's more like turn 4. Yeah. But you can use it then, and it's totally valid, and it's going to help you advance the board a bit when you need to, in that stopgap between ramping and wiping the board. So yeah, I guess you convinced me. I'm back feeling a bit higher about it again.
Yeah. Your second place?
My number 2 is Tramp, Dapper, Rascal. The shift Tramp.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like it.
Now I have to do the bashing, but yeah, just continue.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, bash away. I played some of the Churner Dogs deck over the last couple of weeks. I really like it. And I think that it basically just runs out of gas sometimes when you get your board wiped. It can be a little hard to recover from if you haven't played quite conservatively and like specifically prepared for what comes after that. I really like that you can just like refill off of getting your stuff destroyed. It feels like the sort of curve topper that a lot of aggressive decks have wanted for a long time, of like if you're going to B prep me, go on and B prep me. Obviously that deck has access to disruptive stuff like Ursula as well, so hopefully you're stopping the board wipe, and then you're just, you take your like, if you get 1-for-1, the card draw feels even better because they're not wiping your board. It's I don't know. I just like these kind of effects where I'd call it like a go ahead and sweep me sort of thing. Like I'll just try and rebuild. I'll get such an advantage before you wipe the board. Then I'll gather so many cards in hand after that I'll rebuild quite easily and hopefully have a chance at not losing those games. And it feels like a slam dunk to me, but maybe I've not played the deck enough. Tell me why it's bad.
No. Uh, I don't want to bash, because initially I thought this card is good, but I
Yeah, okay.
think it is not. Just for could be wrong. I think the counter cards to it are too crazy good and too crazy efficient. Like this two.
Yep.
I mean, if this
Good point.
card ever gets muted or kitted, or even
Mm.
people say like brawl, okay, I get a card, but I think you lose the game on the spot if this gets brawled, because it's like such a tempo loss, and I only can see this card shine against. Yeah, be prepared in itself, and even then, it must be a board where they can't remove him first and then be prep. So they can't have a Maui and a 2-strength character on board. Otherwise, you just get one card and then they be prep. And then, so it's very specific board states where I see this card shines. But maybe I can really be wrong. I just think there are two. I mean, especially Muses, Kid, and Brawl are three cards that completely. I mean, against green, you just can't risk to play it. Like if it ever gets mused or kitted, I think you lose the game. It's so much tempolas. And doesn't matter if you shifted it or hardcasted it. So your opponent will answer it with some of these effects. And I mean, you can risk it and you can get away with it sometimes. Where I can see it a bit more is like against Steel Song. Could be fine.
Sure. Yeah.
But then you need to be ahead. And it's also a card that only good ahead. If you're behind, this is absolute nothing.
True.
So really nothing. Nothing. If you can run away, if you could run in with your own characters, I mean that would probably be too good, but it's only on your opponent's turn, so your opponent has the complete control over this effect. But to be fair, when rotation comes and we have no reprint of Kid or Muses and maybe Brawl, I don't know, and this 2-strength threshold is not that crazy as it is now with removal, then I think he could be really good. But there are obstacles to overcome to shine.
Yeah, I agree.
And you don't have to agree.
No, I mean, I totally see it.
It looks so good. It's one of these cards. It looks so good for me, but I can see so many situations where I think you often would be happy to have that it's a creaky. Like it's a creaky. You think, oh, nice, I can wipe up the board, and I don't know. Maybe if you have this spot where you play it into their B prep turn and they can't. I mean, to be fair, I I did say it wrong. Like you don't have to quest with it in the B prep turn, so you play it and then it is not exerted to make them challenge it, but then you. I don't know. Into their B prep turn, it's fair. I see it, but then you have also Ursula and stuff, and I don't know if Be Prepared was it the worst thing that this deck was afraid of. I don't know. Maybe it was.
Not really. No.
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 So yeah.
Yeah.
It is not the card draw that I think this deck would need. You need unconditional card draw, like even like even like Clarabelle or something, card draw like that, to be a really hand filler.
Yep.
But I think
Yeah.
to give you the point, there will be situations where this card shines, and I think there will be, and these games should feel great, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I think
Good.
we can get onto the big. We can get onto the big one. I
The
wonder
big
if we
one?
have the same number one.
Yeah, it's a steel card.
Yeah, mine's a steel card.
Yeah, mine's a steel card too. It's a song, right?
Yeah,
And
it's a steel song.
sing together song, right?
It has sing together. Correct. Yeah, sounds like we're in the same ballpark.
Do you want to start or
I just went. Maybe you get going.
Okay. But it's Beyond the Horizon, of course. Of course. I say it now, Beyond the Horizon. When I first saw this card, like I was not too impressed by it. I thought it just whole new world for cheap people, for poor people. But it's not. The problem is
It is not.
the problem is I think the most problem is Prince John with this card going on. And I underestimated too that a 7-cost Sing Together song is for many decks easier to sing than a 5-cost song. So I see this card in green steel, and it scares me a lot, and I'm afraid to play against this new card. And I think it's a auto include in these decks, and it is a new layer of. I mean, the problem is it was already like had a lot of threats, and this is a new threat, just a new layer to the deck. Then it's like I can see totally shifting your game plan if you have this new opening hand. Like you don't need to care about discarding at all, so you just set up your board.
Yep.
Then you sing this. If you have a Prince John on board, you draw at least 6 cards if you want. And no. It depends on how many cards your opponent has. So like you draw at least 3 if you want it, if you were empty-handed, for example, and then you can draw for any card that your opponent discarded too. So and then your opponent is on 3 cards. You draw a bunch of cards, and then you should be able to really easily discard the remaining hand. And it's not that green steel needed something like this, but it is another. I think it raises the power level of the deck by a good amount and makes it probably, like my first impression, best deck in the format right now. With to be fair, a good amount of counterplay to it, but not that easy to counterplay against it. So if you attack against it, you will still lose some games, and that's scary. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much exactly the same. It's when you look at this, like the obvious parallel that you draw is Whole New World, and then you think, well, we've kind of seen that, but there are so many differences here that are like that make such a big impact. The fact that it's like not inherently parallel, you choose which player you choose which player or players it affects is just wild. Like the Sing Together 7, as you say, is like much easier to achieve in practice than you might think on paper. The thing that really gets me is that you can just Prince John on your turn 3, because you're like not worried about having to like aggressively discard them or anything, because you're setting up this play. You can Prince John on your turn 3. There's no way to interact with that. It just says ward. It just sits there being a broken Prince John like it always has. You're waiting for a sweeper before you can do anything about that, or like a Tremaine or something. It's kind of like an out sometimes, sometimes not. And then on turn 4, you can just play like a Muses and just chill with your untargetable things in play that add up to a convenient 7-cost, and will bounce one thing in play when you exert the 2 of them to sing this one-sided on your opponent to discard their 4 cards, drawing you 4 off Prince John, and topping up your hand if you just do it one-sided, that sort of thing. If it affects both players, like you draw up more if you want, plus that. Add a Diablo in play, why not? And then for their draws, like you can just fill up even more. It looks like it will lead to some really miserable play patterns. And it's, like you say, it's not that you can't interact with it, because you definitely can. Like cards like 2-drop Ursula exist, Pete exists.
Gantu, there's the from last set.
Yeah, Gantu.
Big Ursula.
One of the big problems is this kind of, it's always steel. It's always steel that has this problem. And whenever steel stuff is busted, it's that the answer is also in the same steel decks. So it's like, oh, everyone doing this crazy action stuff. Like, then I want to play Pete. Well, if you want to play Ursula 2 and Pete, if you think like the best thing to do is play Ursula 2 and Pete, what are you doing? You're also playing green steel. So if it's like, if you determine that like this action-based, like more combo-oriented discard is insanely powerful, then I will also play the best tools against it. They happen to also be in the same thing. Why would I ever not play this deck, which simultaneously has like the best proactive, hardest to interact with, like mid-game combo that can swing the game, and also has the best tools to combat that in mirrors? That's what scares me. Is that it's like, what would disrupt this better than green steel?
I think honestly, people were too low on aggressive decks against it in general. I think I had a good record with green purple against it, because they really struggle against the Murfolk sometimes.
Yeah,
and then I think the Beyond the Horizon makes it probably even worse against decks that want to to dump their hand really early and just play threats on the board. So the card does really nothing if you dump the hand, of course, obviously. But I mean, it's not always possible, and but I think it goes a slow tick down on generally it's aggro matchup, and that could lead to some sweet spots to attack it maybe. But in general, I think you're right. I think it's very hard to play a control-y playstyle game plan against this stuff, because you can't draw cards, because it's like you lose them. But you can't. It's not even a reasonable game plan anymore to outdraw it, because the outdrawing does nothing against Beyond the Horizon. You could outdraw Sudden Chills and Hypnotizers and even Forgotten Me sometimes, but you can't outdraw Beyond the Horizon. That makes no sense. So it's very very hard, I think, to be a control player, especially decks like red purple. It will have a hard time, I think, against this deck, because against red purple you could do reasonable things. You could do like Peter Pan and then stall a bit and then Finders Keepers and stuff, and then they really struggled against you. But Finders Keepers is so bad if they just draw for every card you draw them, and it's I think the combo with Prince John is not good for the game, I think.
It's a rough one to interact with. Anything that has Prince John at the core of it is always such a tough one.
Let's hope he rotates out. People already call for bans, but that's, friends, it's early. It's too early to call out for bans and stuff. It's let it happen and let's see. Only the world's player have to care about it. The other players get the rotation then, and then it's fine. Like, and we get set champs maybe, but that's it. And then,
there's exactly like 30 people in the world that need to really worry about this. And if you're not in them, then you can just kind of chill and watch it happen. And your locals might get a bit miserable for a while. But it's like, just have a look at what this format looks like at the end before we get the rotation. Prince John has been target of like a lot of conversation. When the Bucky errata happened, everyone was also talking about Prince John, because actually all the reasons why Bucky is horrible are also applied to Prince John. It
Yeah.
is this thing that can't be interacted with easily at all. Has this powerful static effect and just sits there unexerted doing its really strong thing, and which is incredibly frustrating to play against. So you would hope that after all these months of people sort of intermittently getting mad at Prince John, he wouldn't make the cut for next set. But we'll have to see what happens post rotation.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it gets a reprint. Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. And the other thing is, like, we've got this precedent now for bans after the Hiram ban,
Mhm.
and the closer we get to rotation, actually, the more willing Ravensburger will be to make bans. I've seen some people say, like, why ban stuff if we're so close to rotation? And it's like, so the game can be fun for the last 3 months
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah. Yeah.
miserable. It's not like, don't just let the game burn for 3 months. The cost of a card that won't be rotated, a card that won't be reprinted post rotation, the cost of banning it now versus letting it rotate in 3 months is like nil. You can just, if there's a piece you can shuffle out, you can just do it, and people, who cares? Ideally, like, people don't get as badly stung as they did on their like Tamatoas they bought last set. They all invested. Everyone went deep in Tamatoas, and then a
Yeah.
pretty key piece gets banned out. So yeah, it's too early to say anything about bans, but my instinct is that, like, if it does play out that it's too good, I think they'll act pretty quick. We might not even have a Worlds with this if it does shake out to be as horrible as it looks, but
Oh, that
we've
would be.
got we've we've got more we've got more weeks of gameplay to go before anyone can draw meaningful conclusions.
Yeah. Yeah.
At first glance, it's not good though. It's pretty horrible.
Yeah. It's added a really new layer to a deck that's already fighting for S tier deck. Like,
Yes.
that's crazy. And no other deck got real auto inclusions. I think I think that I don't want to blame the set. The set is very exciting, and I think there's a lot of stuff you can try out, but there's no real outstanding card outside of that for me. That I think, like, wow, crazy addition for that or that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good observation actually. Is like the direct upgrades that you see in this set are like slim to none, but
Yeah.
there are a ton of exciting cards, and I kind of said a few weeks ago I was way more excited about this set than I have been for the last couple. That's still true, even though I think there aren't too many things that slot into existing decks. This is more something of, I think there are a lot of cool build arounds for post rotation that you can't do right now because, well, primarily set two. Set two is like this big void where just everything sort of went wrong for a second. We had this wild
Yeah.
power spike that happened out of nowhere. Until that's shuffled out, we're kind of just sitting and waiting. But there is a lot of exciting stuff to be doing after, I think. Yeah, lots of cool build arounds that we could have talked about today. But
Yes.
we'll have to save that for set 9. And that all hinges on what we get reprinted, right? Like, it's the format of the future is entirely determined by what they choose to reprint.
Yeah, that's
Could
true.
be completely different. It could not change at all. Like,
Yeah,
we could see
that's
no
true.
effect. There could effectively be no change.
Yeah.
If half the set is reprints, like, I
That's
could
what I
probably make a list of 100 cards, which would keep the format exactly the same.
that's what I don't understand when people say, "Oh, this card gets so good if all the removal gets rotated out." But
Yeah,
do they
that won't
do they
happen.
leave the game with no removal? You know, like,
Yeah,
and it's like that makes not that much sense to me because there will always be removal in a format. Like,
yeah,
if yeah, that makes no. And even then, maybe the card other removal will be played, and yeah, I don't know.
yeah. I've heard people saying things like, "Well, once Be Prepared is gone," I'm like, if you think Be Prepared's going, like,
Yeah.
you've got another thing coming. This a card game without an unconditional board sweeper is not a card game you want to play. I
Yeah.
promise you. Even if you hate getting your board swept, and Be Prepared is the bane of your life, you do not want to be part of a game that doesn't have that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is.
It's
Maybe
very
they
hard
don't
to
reprint
mention.
exactly Be Prepared, but there will be a
Like,
parallel
yeah, or even like a very
keeper,
good
there must be.
new Scar that's
Exactly. There was,
better started, or can ready characters attack or
yeah,
something like that.
something
Yeah,
that does the same
yeah.
thing effectively because a game needs it to be well designed and not horribly imbalanced.
The time is very. Oh, we are over an hour, but I think we both want to show one deck for the viewers
Yeah, sure.
that we built up, because
Hmm.
I think we don't want to leave this episode without showing one deck. I firstly want
No,
to
let's show some lists. Yeah.
show you my first iteration of green purple tempo of the new
Yep.
format. Honestly, I think green purple has a lot of stuff gained from the set. And what I really love, and that I want to clap for Ravensburger, that they understood now the essence of green purple, because all the new green purple cards are like either bounce cards, because I think green purple should be the bounce color combination, or they are like wrong lever or something. Like, for example, I really like it's also a very underrated card in my opinion, the new Magica Dispel, because it's a very crazy card advantage engine, I think. But of course it's slow, but I still want to try it out and see in grindy games. I think it's a lot of card draw that you can make with this card. It's still a 3/3 evasive quester for 2, and I really like that card, and I think it was overlooked a bit. The meta has to be slow though, so that's why I think maybe it's won't make the cut, because if Free Seal is that good. But that's sad, because I like the card, and I think after rotation this could be a really good card advantage engine if cards like Rabbit goes out or something, because you always also draw a card additionally from bouncing. I think that's much. So your hand economy is very good. I like this card a lot. I want to try it out. I also think like the new chip is very cool. It's close to a card that I always wanted. It's like an Inkable Lucifer for me. It's not an Inkable Lucifer, but it's very close to that. No, is it chip in English? Sorry, I have the German. It's called chip, right?
Yeah, it's chip.
Yeah, it's chip. Yeah. I like that card a lot. I would like to play more, but I didn't find space yet. What I also think like could be very good in this new format is Big Ursula again, because against Green Steel, very good. Against, I think Ember Steel would also be a very good deck right now. They could also play Beyond the Horizon. Kit will be exceptional again, I think, for these Ursula stuff. We have natural Diablo answers. We have these aggressive openings that they are afraid of sometimes. And I think even against their beast shift lines, the wrong lever, even without the second effect, is very good to bounce the beast back to the hand if they shift it on turn 3. So it's like a Mother Knows Best against that. Yeah, I think Green Purple has honestly a lot of good counterplay against that. But yeah, let's see how it turns out. It's still like a bit of a toolbox version right now to see what will become good. I think just Ursula 2-drop, Big Ursula, and Kit and Peter Pan together are really good counterplay against Green Steel. So yeah, I'm afraid of this matchup, so I tagged more against that. And I think against the rest, it still should do the thing with a lot better removal option now in Wrong Liver, I think. Don't know how you think about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the things I'm working on at the moment is like updates to green purple discards. That's kind of where my head's at, and
so maybe we showed that now. We can
show that. Yeah. No, let's show that quickly. But the thinking is pretty much the same as on like wrong lever, that sort of thing. The thinking is very similar. I'm not too sure. I can't work out the numbers with like pull the lever, wrong lever, and hypnotize. I can't pin it down yet. It's really tough. But like the basics of this build make me very happy. I don't know if I'll be playing Lucifer or if I play some number of Ursula 3s and Muses as I have in set champs, that sort of thing. But it's, yeah, in general, I think this deck is really good again. And it will just like, it has such a, the stuff just naturally slots into it so well. The pull the lever and run lever. Yeah, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, the problem is, again, yeah, I mean, I don't want to, like, what, the reason this time must be really, really high to play this over green steel. That's the problem for me. And maybe it's Genie. Or the more consistent Diablo shift. Just yeah, it still has some upsides. Yeah.
After playing it last weekend, I think it has a lot of upside. I really, really like it. Like I would play this over green steel any day. But then I am a green purple player, so that's not really saying much. But it's that combination of hyper consistent Diablo shift, plus like Genie is so good as a proactive thing, gives you lots of natural like evasive outs. You can quest so much more freely with this versus green steel. You can
Genie
keep
is
questing.
so bad. I think it's just a garbage card for me. I would never play Genie right now. That's my feeling, but that's just my feeling.
There is people, long-term listeners to the podcast can point towards set 7. I'm gonna call it. I've been thinking about this a little bit, and we're gonna call it the great fracturing, right? It's the great fracturing. It's where, like, if you chart mine and your journey together, it's where we reach the crossroads and we go off in two different directions.
No,
it's where I sit there and I say, God, I can't understand how you play tempo anymore. How do you even do this? All these cards do nothing. How do you ever justify playing a 1-drop Pegasus in this world? And you say Genie's shit, and I'd go, right, we just go our separate ways, and that's it. And we still both play green purple, but we have our differences. I really bought into it for a bit, and I played a tempo version of green purple at my first set champs, the one that I didn't win, with mostly rabbits and like one Genie, and I like, it makes so much sense on paper, but Genie is so good. Like, sometimes they just don't have answers to it, and they just win the game. Just this top deck thing that cantrips and randomly wins you the game when they haven't exactly set up with like their own Genie into Elsa. And since all that stuff like dropped off a bit,
and
it's
Iago
just
and Shark and yeah.
But who cares about Iago and Shark? Like, I just
Okay.
I care about them. They're very powerful. I immediately regret saying that. I care about them. They win loads of games. They're in loads of decks. But
no, I think
I use my Genies to kill sharks, man. I just crab my Genie into their shark.
Yeah, why is the Shark exerted?
Because the player isn't very good.
Now we're coming closer. No. No, I think we are both right, and that's the cool thing about it. And the cool thing about it, to conclude maybe this episode, because we got really long, that we both convinced ourselves. I convinced you, and you convinced me about some cards. And that's really cool. So I convinced you maybe about the New Orleans stuff, and you convinced me about, I forgot what was it? You convinced me today about something. Maybe. But
Lilo?
No. There was another card. I was really surprised when you said it. Then I forgot it.
It couldn't have been that convincing, could it?
Yeah, but that just says that we both, every player has to learn every day to get better, and I really, really see the upsides of Genie, because what can I say? I see the upside. I have to see them, because my playstyle is so shitty fair that I hate myself for that. And I just remembered the Ravensburg European Championship and the last DLC.
Yeah.
You have to remember that I don't want to say, wow, I'm so good, but I didn't get 2-0 once in all 3 tournaments. And in all 3 tournaments, I didn't reach top cut. And I see it a bit like I play 2 fair decks and maybe 2 player fair styles. And that's something I have to keep in mind. Like, I think Rabbit is better, but then Rabbit doesn't randomly win you the game, so I maybe have to take the randomly winning you the game stuff. Either, although it has some crazy good counterplay, and then and that's really really good to have this conversation with you. I'm
glad as well, because it's really you never want to swing too far one way or the other, right? Like, you need to have this balanced mindset of, yes, your preferred play style is really fair, but you can't play so fair that you just farm 1/1s forever. If you're starting to, if you play fair and you feel like, well, you know what, one of my games went really well and the other one, like, they just stuck something that I couldn't answer and then they won in 2 turns. There's something for you to learn there. You need consistent play patterns that also have like some upside, and you actually need to hedge your bets a bit with like some things that are a bit swingier, like Genie, which can suck in some cases. In some cases, it's a much worse rabbit. In other cases, it can run away with a game on its own. That's why I like it, because it introduces that bit of variance, that, and you need that sometimes. Sometimes you have to be like just making them have everything, and then they don't have it, and you win. You know?
Yeah. Makes total sense. Okay, I think we are. Do you have anything to add? 1 hour 20 minutes. I think we have to.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
I just want to add one thing really, really quickly. It's a quick shout out to a real quick story for you. When my first set championships, the one 2 weeks ago, I picked up the newest in a collection of exotic game warnings from a judge for drawing off my opponent's deck instead of my own, and I drew a genie. I drew a genie and was like, oh hell yeah, it's Genie. And I was playing with a double sleeve deck as well. And so I only realized it wasn't my Genie like once I'd passed the turn and was feeling the cards move in my hand, like, hold on, something's wrong. And my opponent, I want to give a shout out to my opponent, a guy called Chris. He has a Lorcana TikTok page called Inquiry, where he does daily pack openings, and I'll get a link down in the description. A lovely guy who was very understanding of my mistake, and I'd say that I'd give him a little shout out. He was a fan of the podcast, so shout out to him for being such a good sport about that. And I promise to not draw off my opponent's deck in future. You ever think there's a like, you know how much, like, how addicted you are to playing bad cards when it, like, the proposition of drawing off your opponent's deck instead of your own becomes like, whoa. You know, if I draw off mine, I know it's all shit, but they could have anything. I just wanted to say
it would be the dumbest way of cheating by
exactly.
Your opponent's deck. I cheat now. I draw from his deck. And not from mine.
I mean, it would have been resolved a lot faster. He was playing red purple and I was playing green purple. I would have noticed instantly if I'd drawn a card that was a color I wasn't playing. Because it was a Genie. I was like, whoa, nice. All right. And then so no idea how to resolve that. But the opponent was a very good sport about it, and we got it cleaned up. But it was like one of those things after the game where someone was like asking me, how did that happen? And I really couldn't tell you. I'm not sure I can fully explain what led to me doing that, but that happened.
But at least you get a shout out in our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And what a lovely dude as well. Thank you for experiences like that keep set championships nice and positive and fun. And aside from that, I'm all good.
Yeah, nice. Viewers, we have honestly, we had some more topics, but I think the next episode will not last. It will not, because next early week we will record a news episode, and then I think it won't be too long till the next episode. So
it won't be a long time.
We will take that for next week.
yeah, maybe we do more of a focus on decks next week and get some more testing in over the weekend and come back with some more proven lists.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
Good. So thanks everyone for listening. Have a good one. Till next time, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.